all the way down, near Granger, south of Hinckley. So, it was a big object that's turned into a whole bunch of little objects and made a lot of noise doing it.
Oh, I got two questions for you real quick. Is there any way to know how big the object actually was coming in based on the sound, based on the videos and everything?
There is a way to do that. I'm not the guy to do that. And you'll see in the news, I'm sure, as the people that do this, they model this all the time. There's obviously a lot of interest, right, in understanding objects falling from space and how big they are and how fast they were moving. That kind of data is going to show up very shortly. NASA monitors that very carefully. The Department of Defense monitors that very carefully. But that data is not in hand right now, and I'm not the math guy, so I can't help you much on that.
Well, you just kind of touched on it. That leads me to my next question. Is this not something that is tracked by the experts, by NASA? Is there any way to have known that this would have been coming our way?
Look, NASA takes very seriously trying to track objects that are a serious threat to hit the Earth and cause damage. What we just saw a little while ago isn't that big. It might scratch the paint on your car or put a hole in a roof somewhere, but we're not talking about, major catastrophic damage. And these things are very hard to see. This was not a big object, probably the size, let's say, an engine block.
Wow.
Maybe the size of a car at the most. And it's something that you really wouldn't be able to see until it basically hits the atmosphere and starts to glow. Wow. So I wouldn't worry about it. This stuff happens all the time, and there's not a lot of damage happening from it. It's just an exciting reminder that the Earth is flying through space running into stuff all the time.
There's a lot happening out there. And Professor Harvey, I've got to ask, I'm getting texts, should I be scared? Should I hunker down? What should I do, from some of my friends? What's just your message to people? You kind of mentioned it there, that we're okay now. But what's your message to anyone wondering, what should I do now? What comes next?
Hey, be happy you had something rare happen that you got to experience. And if you're down there between Medina and Akron and Hinckley and out for a dog walk, keep your eyes open for a rock that looks like it's in the wrong place. You might just have a little piece of the stars in front of you.
Wow. Unbelievable. Professor Harvey, thank you so much for joining us here this morning, helping us break it down and telling us that we are all safe.
Yes.
We heard the loud boom, but thankfully the expert says we are all good to go. So, Professor, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow, so we, part of history we experienced today.
Yeah, I think we kind of felt that in real time as we were experiencing that with, once we found out that it was a meteor. I mean, this is not something that I have ever heard in my lifetime. People who are older than us, who have been doing this longer than us in the business, said that this is a first for them as well that they've covered. So it's hard to put into words.
Totally. Dave Chudowski said, I've never heard that noise before, and I've been here for so many years. And then, you hear different rumors, was it an explosion? Was it a possible earthquake? And then we finally saw the reports from the National Weather Service saying, no, reports show it's a meteor.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? How does this happen? And it's just crazy that that's what it was. And a sense of calm came after that, of course.
Yeah.
And knowing that it didn't touch down anywhere.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I was going to say one thing that is nice about it as well is the fact that, we were hearing all these different reports from people all over the place, and we were trying to figure out what that was and could it be an explosion? And then, as reporters, you kind of go through the checklist of, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And we weren't getting any damage reports. We weren't getting any reports from first responders saying that something had happened. So everybody was really asking the same type of question until we got what we just saw on the screen there of that report from NWS Cleveland saying that they had reported that heat signature on radar and that they believed that it was a meteor. And then I think it sort of answered a lot of the questions that we had had.
Yeah, definitely calmed a lot of nerves, that's for sure. And I know, we were getting all these calls in. Also, first responders were getting all these calls in because people were frightened. I mean, when you hear something like that, what's happening? Should I stay inside? Should I go outdoors? But, first responders were then putting out messages on Facebook and to X saying, it's okay, we're getting reports it was a meteor. There's no need for any panic. This is what it was, and it's what the National Weather Service was showing. And they've sent out many reports now confirming that that's what they believe it is. So.
And one of the things I think is so interesting that Professor Harvey